So I'm standing here in Providence, Rhode Island. I'm at the Roger Williams National Memorial. And I've been driving around New England with Myra here over the last few days. And it's funny, I've never been to Rhode Island before, but I got to thinking as we were planning on staying here last night in Providence about the name Providence, Rhode Island. And why is that? How did that end up happening? Well, it was named by Roger Williams because he believed in God's providence in helping him found this colony back in the 18th century. And this idea is totally lost on this town in this day and age. In fact, Rhode Island is, as I'm learning, a sanctuary city nightmare here in the United States. I was just talking with someone at the hotel last night, someone who would typically be a Democrat but loves Donald Trump and is just disgusted by the sanctuary city nature of this town and the real risks that it brings to the culture here, to the safety of people. I mean, he literally pointed to problems with safety, and it just got me thinking as I'm standing here in Roger Williams Memorial Park about the amazing, wonderful things that this country is all about and what we've been able to accomplish, what great men like Roger Williams were able to accomplish, because they believed in the providence of Almighty God. They sought His favor and His help in everything they did to build things up. I was just noticing right behind me here, this is what's now called St. John's Church. St. John's Church was founded as King's Church in 1722 and by a French Huguenot who had come to the United States seeking freedom and religious liberty. I mean, that's what this entire colony of Rhode Island was founded upon. And yet, I'll bet you that there's not a politician in Rhode Island, certainly no Democrat politician, maybe many Republican politicians, who don't understand the beauty of what God has done in this country. You know, a lot of people talk about, is the United States a Christian nation? And if you mean by that the sense that we were founded on Judeo-Christian principles, well then yeah, we're a Christian nation. But if you want to say that everybody in the United States was always a Christian and thus it's only Christians, well, colonies like Rhode Island and others were truly founded by Christians with a Christian intent and purpose behind them. Some were not. But what is consistent among all of them is they came from the Judeo-Christian tradition that had developed in Europe that had, by the time the 18th century came around, come to a place where they understood that God's laws and God's plans were good for mankind, that orderly society was helpful, that to obtain orderly society, you had to have constraints upon the government, that the monarchical systems of Europe at the time were not sufficient to restrain the corruption of mankind, that you needed greater restrictions at the same time as having greater freedom. That is not, the case right now. We do not live in a culture, by and large, that still believes these things. Thankfully, after last year's election in 2024, we see that contingent of Americans, some 50 to 60% of them, who have some sense of that, were willing to take off the shackles of Democrat government and find a new way. And I pray for this country. I pray for the state of Rhode Island that has such a rich history and heritage that most people in this town and in this state probably don't know about or have a good sense of. And in fact, back to this St. John's Church, it's now It closed down in 2012. And they're going to repurpose the building. What are they going to repurpose it for? To talk about the evils of slavery. Now, I do believe we need memorials to the evils of slavery. There's no doubt about that. We need to understand how bad that was. But for this historic building, so old, 1722, guys, for this building so old, there's no need at all to make it a monument to the evils of slavery. What we need to do is make it a monument to the beauty of faith in Jesus Christ and in the Judeo-Christian ethic founded in the Ten Commandments that brings real freedom to mankind, real prosperity, and real hope. There is no hope in the systems of this world now that are secularized and turning away from God. There's only hope in the God of the Bible, Yahweh, who created all things.